Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at a brand new 4K limited edition release from Arrow Video, and it is 1986's Mona Lisa. So this gets its name from the 1950 Nat King Cole song Mona Lisa, which features heavily in this film itself. And yeah, it's directed by Neil Jordan, who I've seen 4 other films from before. Two other favourites would be the likes of Breakfast on Pluto and The Company of Wolves. So this is a neo-noir crime drama, clocks in at 103 minutes long, and it stars Bob Hoskins, who I've seen 11 other films from in the past. Favourites would be like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, 24/7, and The Long Good Friday, which has some similarities to this film. Although I would also recommend the film Shattered. It's not a great film by any means, but it certainly is an engaging one. And Bob Hoskins is a great part of that film. Also stars Kathy Tyson, who was in the Wes Craven directed The Serpent and the Rainbow. You've also got Michael Caine, who I've seen in 48 other films. His filmography is still one of the largest of any single actor that I've seen. Obviously been in the likes of the Dark Knight trilogy, the Italian Job, the original one, the original Get Carter. He was in all of the 5 Harry Palmer films, as well as recently I saw the Wilby Conspiracy, which is really rather decent effort with Sidney Poitier. We also got Robbie Coltrane, who was in Defense of the Realm the year before this, as well as obviously Goldeneye, which is a role that he'd repeat in The World Is Not Enough. You've got Clark Peters, who was also in Outland, John Wick, and Harriet. And finally, Kate Hardy, who was in Croupier, which is another film that Arrow Video have released on 4K in the past. So George is a small-time crook just out of prison who discovers his tough guy image is out of date. Reduced to working as a minder slash driver for high-class call girl Simone, he has to agree when she asks him to find a young colleague from her King's Cross days. That's ultimately when George's troubles begin to start. So this is a superbly acted mix of its genres that ultimately takes its time with its plot as it prioritises its characters, atmosphere, and giving itself a real sense of place in a satisfying manner that makes this an overall thoroughly engaging effort. It is also well shot. The score, soundtrack is great. The violence is quick and brutal. The script neatly balances the characterization. Humor and the darker side of its plot are Sorry, the script neatly balances the characterization, humor, and the darker side of its plot. As there is some really rather quite funny lines in this, particularly between Bob Hoskins and Simone themselves. And the production is also well executed. I also really rather like the use of lighting in this in some parts, especially during the night time when there's obviously these parts of London that are bathed in some neon glow. Did have a slight giallo side to it in that regard. But yeah, overall an absolutely excellent release and definitely one of my favourites from Bob Hoskins. Ranks right alongside those 3 that I mentioned before talking about Shattered. And yeah, gets a healthy 4.5 out of 5. So yeah, this has a new artwork by Hannah Gillingham on the go here. So yeah, a large proportion of this film does actually take place in the car that Bob Hoskins is driving Simone around in, and it's a really rather nice cream-coloured Jaguar Mark II. And yeah, that's why he's behind the wheel and she's in front of the windscreen. And yeah, really like new artwork that it has going, which is on the actual sleeve of the case itself as well. And there is a disc with the same artwork. Pretty sure we have the original cover on the reverse of the sleeve as well. Yes, we do. So this film has had a release from Arrow Video in the past on Blu-ray only, but it's really nice to see that it's been given the 4K treatment as well. We also get a booklet with this release with an interpretation of Bob Hoskins' character in the film, and then we have the partial shot of the Jaguar Mark II on the reverse on the booklet. And inside you get your cast and your crew, and then you get Mona Lisa by Mike Sutton, and then about the presentation as well. Seems to be gotten a little bit dirty there for some reason on the wording of about there. So yeah, you get shots from the film throughout as well. There is the late great Bob Hoskins. And there is Kathy Tyson as Simone. And yeah, the film itself was exclusively restored by Arrow Films and is presented in its original aspect ratio of 1:85:1 with original mono audio. The original 35mm camera negative was scanned in 4K resolution. The film was restored in 4K resolution and graded in HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Scanning, grading, and picture restoration was completed at Silver Salt Restoration in London. The soundtrack was remastered from the original mono mag reels by the BFI, and additional audio remastering was completed by the Engine House. All materials for this restoration was made available by Handmade Films via the BFI. So Handmade Films made the film originally. And the restoration itself was also approved by director Neil Jordan. So yeah, overall sounds and looks really, really good. Probably not massively better than the film on Blu-ray, but then again, it has been quite some time since I've seen on this film on Blu-ray way back when it came out. So yeah, I can't, I'm not able to fully compare them side by side and the like, but still, it was a real treat to revisit this and to have it on the ultimate version that is going is always a good thing. And there are also extras on the disc itself. So yeah, newly restored original lossless English mono audio with optional English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing. Audio commentary by Bob Hoskins and Neil Jordan. Interviews with director Neil Jordan, writer David Leland, and producer Stephen Woolley. And then you got the original trailer as well. So not a massive amount of extras there, but you know, at the end of the day, it is more about the film and the 4K restoration. On both of those fronts, it's really, really good. But I also like the physical presentation as well with the new artwork, which is it's a bit of a shame that we don't have a poster for it, but that's just the way it is sometimes. But yeah, still, overall, in terms of presentation, in terms of the 4K and the physical aspects, it's really good. But it's all about the film at the end of the day, and it is an excellent one, and it's definitely one of my favourites from the 1980s. What is interesting is that has a score from Michael Kamen, who's obviously way more known for his action films than anything else. In fact, the same year as this, he also did Highlander, and obviously going to do 3 of the Die Hard films, all 4 of the Lethal Weapon films, and much besides that as well. So yeah, it's a far more restrained effort from him. But it works really, really nicely alongside the few songs that are in this, because obviously you've got the Mona Lisa song from Nat King Cole, but you've also got When I Fall in Love by him as well, and you've also got Genesis in Too Deep as well, and all 3 of those work really well nicely alongside the score, but also complement the film as well. So yeah, on the whole, absolutely excellent effort, and one that you need to see if you haven't seen it before, especially if you do enjoy films from Bob Hoskins, and it works really, really nicely alongside The Long Good Friday as well, another film our video I've released on 4K in the past. Um, Especially since this is set in the same kind of crime-ridden underworld. Although compared to Longer Friday, Bob Hoskins is a lot lower down on the ranks than he was in that film. So yeah, it's a nice companion piece to that, I find. So yeah, but nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen Mona Lisa before, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.